with us.
Okay, I see. So, yeah,
We are live. I can see.
yeah, we are now live. I'm just trying to make sure we just wait on the time for kickoff. Just
Okay.
I'm trying to. See.
Hopefully, my dog will not start barking.
Yeah, well, it's the weekend, so
It's the weekend. I'm in
that
the
is
house.
that is home day. Everybody wants to be around that. Yeah.
Everybody wants attention. So.
See. Okay, and got a minute. And so, when are you back in Ghana? Few weeks from.
I want to be in Ghana. Let's see, the end of August, beginning of September. It depends on. It sounds a bit weird. There's a boat on its way with some containers to Ghana, and they are supposed. They are for our new artificial field. So when that pitch is coming, I have to be there.
Absolutely.
So it could be in 2 weeks' time, but it could be in 3 or 4 weeks' time because you never know when that boat will arrive. So we get a new artificial pitch, and it depends a little bit, but normally in the beginning of September.
Okay. All right then, yeah, and I think let's jump right into it. And so, as we kick off the second episode of African Football Unfiltered, here today as your hosts, Abdul Salam, Cisse, and Mr. Jan Gosgens. So here we talk about everything that is meant to be talked about as far as African football is concerned, and obviously what gets it onto the next level. So in this show, we try to be as honest and have as in-depth conversations as possible. And for that being the case, I'd just like to briefly introduce our host, Mr. Jan Goskens, who's managing director at WAFA, West African Football Academy, and he's one of Africa's most respected, and WAFA is one of Africa's most respected and successful international football academies, I would say. So together we'll be exploring how to bridge football between Africa and Europe. Speak on how to protect talents and give insights on how player and talent development works, especially in Africa. And we understand that football is a global language, but again, geography plays its role and its part, and obviously culture as well. So I think approaches just have to be as systematic as possible and strategic as possible when it comes to player development, etc. So over to you, Jan, and we'll be happy if you can briefly run us through your experiences and tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure. Always like to talk about football in Africa, and I have some experience in Africa, and started. I went to Ghana in 2000 to work at that time. It was Feyenoord Ghana, as you might know. I went there and I was a youth coach. Just got my UEFA A license, and I was doing the second generation. The first generation in Ghana was in final Ghana was done by Coach Ade, which was a well-respected coach. He was the national coach of the Black Stars. He won bronze at the Olympics in 1992, and he also became world champion with Ghana under 17. So I was the first Dutch guy coming from Feyenoord to become a coach in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
After 5 years, I left Ghana, went to South Africa to work for the Supersport United Feyenoord Academy. Did that for 1 year. Long story short, I did a lot of things in between. Maybe I can tell that later. And in 2023, at that time, I was the technical director of Den Bosch. The people in Ghana approached me to come back and to take over as a managing director from Mr. Kara Brooke, who was there for a long time. I went back to Ghana. At that time, we had moved to Sogakope. We took over the Red Bull Ghana Academy. And now I'm back since 2 years in Ghana and trying to make something new out of the West African Football Academy. And love to be in Ghana, living in Accra half of the time. Sometimes I'm also with my family in Holland. I'm most of the time in Sogakope, where the academy is based. So that's a little bit about myself. Before, professional player for 10 years, youth coach, supervisory board member, a lot of things, but this is about Ghana and not about what I've done in Holland.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We appreciate it. I mean, we don't really mind, experiences from your time in Holland as well, because I believe, again, settling in Africa, and especially from, say, Holland to Ghana must have been like a very big jump for you, and you definitely had to go through some adaptation process, and obviously you mentioned that your family lives in Holland. Probably how was that for you when you decided on opted to make that switch? Did that affect you in you settling in Ghana, or was it more like an extra push or motivation that got you to the next level? And would be happy if you can like just shed a little bit of light on that before we get into the actual questions.
No, when I left in 2000, I went with my family.
Okay.
And now when I went back now in 2022, I'm more or less on my own, but my children visit me. My wife visits me because she knows Ghana, but we also have our things in Holland to do. So I'm flying every 6 weeks. I'm going back to Holland. So 6 weeks in Ghana, 2 weeks in Holland. I have a lot of friends in Holland. My family's in Holland, but I also have a lot of friends in Ghana now, especially friends out of the period 2000 to 2005. Some new friends. So it's and it's a passion to work for an academy, and so it's no, it's not too difficult, and it wasn't too difficult to adapt to be back. The advantage was that I knew before what Ghana is all about, the culture, the football, the people. I know a lot of people also were in the academy. Some of the people are working already for 25 years for WAFA. So, I know the plus and the minus. I know what is good, what is bad. So for me, it was a little bit coming home.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, if you've been visiting a certain place or definitely lived there for like years and years, it definitely becomes home to you. And so we are happy as well to have people like you as well, coming back, I would say taking a step back, just to make sure that things work out, and things are actually done in the right way as well. So we have to applaud the courage, and also obviously try to encourage as much people to definitely like hop on that trend and make things happen. So today we speak about your time at WAFA, West African Football Academy. So for someone that's actually very familiar with football in the continent, and has been for the past 7, 8 years. And I wouldn't say knowing the insides out, but as someone that's also operating an academy myself in the name Universal Sporting Boys FC, having done really well in the past few years as far as player placements are concerned. We also combine education and sports. We've also availed over 10 to 12 kids opportunities to study in our partner college in the UK on partial and full scholarships. So WAFA is not a name that is new to anybody that's deeply rooted in football in Africa, especially youth football. So I'd like to learn and understand about, or have our viewers understand, what WAFA is. What's the WAFA journey and DNA? Can you take us through the journey of WAFA's growth?
Yeah.
One of Africa's top academies. What key philosophies, decisions, and systems helped shape its identity and success, and what makes WAFA different from other academies on the continent.
Yeah, it started, of course, in 2000. It was Feyenoord Ghana who started to invest and build an academy in Ghana.
Yeah.
And it was based on the example of ASEC Mimosas in Abidjan. Before we did a transfer, I was not doing that transfer, to be honest, but there was a transfer being done by Mr. Van der Herik, who was the president of Feyenoord, and they bought Solomon Kalou and Bonaventure Kalou. And they bought them from ASEC Mimosas. It was firstly Bonaventure Kalou. And Mr. Van der Herik, he saw the academy in Abidjan, and he saw a beautiful academy with a very intelligent guy in Jean-Marc Guillou. He was the owner of the academy and worked together with Abidjan. And he saw that and he thought, listen, this is also what I want. So Feyenoord Ghana was based on the example of ASEC Mimosas. So we started in 2000. I was at that time working for Feyenoord. After my playing career for 10 years, in my playing career, I also was a coach already. But in 1997, they asked me to become a full-time youth coach in Feyenoord. And in 2000, they asked me to come to Ghana and to do the second generation. So mainly it's been influenced by Feyenoord. It's 4-3-3. It's attacking football. It's positional game. And that is still the culture, the DNA, which you are seeing in all the matches. It's exactly the same. Maybe some small details. Before we had the left and the right back on the outside, more on the inside. So some things are changing, but it's still 4-3-3, attacking football, keep the ball on the ground, and try to make sprints deep. But the DNA has been done by Feyenoord, more or less. And that's still exactly the same. Exactly the same. What you could see in the years that we were playing Premier League, we didn't lose a match on our home artificial field because we were used to play on the artificial. We played the positional game, and the opponents, they had a lot of problems trying to challenge us. And that type of playing is still there. Our coaches are all former players. They have the DNA. Our staff members are all people who are already 25 years with WAFA. So the culture, the DNA is there already for 25 years. It's not something which you can bring in all of a sudden. It is there.
Absolutely.
And that is a big difference if I have to compare that with all the other academies, because they don't have that DNA what we have. We have a culture. And we work with local people. We do not bring in, I'm the only guy from Europe. For the rest, we work with only local people because they have the talent, the players, but also the coaches. You have to give them the chance to become better. And they know exactly what the younger players need to do because they know the culture. And these are not people who are leaving the academy to go to another academy or another club because they can make more money. They are happy with us and they want to become better coaches. So we do have a lot of coaches already there, also for more than 10 years. Our technical manager, he was my player, Sadiq Abubakar. He became my assistant coach, and now he's the technical manager. So he knows exactly what to do. Every year he goes to Feyenoord to see what is happening over there. He assisted Van Persie in his coaching sessions in the under-21. So he knows what is going on. So DNA, culture, people already a long time there. 4-3-3, attacking football. Yeah, it's already there for 25 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's well put, and I would say first off, I want to shout Azek Mimosas out for being inspiration to the previous generation, or should I say, like, for setting the precedents for other academies to follow,
Yeah.
or should I say, to actually have other clubs feel like this is the way forward. And there's still definitely a lot to unearth as far as Africa is concerned, whether it's from talent, whether it's from experience, and then whether it's just upscaling and then revolutionizing football as a whole or in general. And I think it has worked for them. It has worked for WAFA, and it's also worked for Right to Dream. And this is why it's important to have shows like these to educate people that probably want to take this step, or to venture into to investments like these. Again, as with every business, nothing is 100% guaranteed, but there's definitely high potential as far as, again, most importantly, doing the right thing and then setting the right structures and foundations in place to make it work. Most importantly, getting a very defined philosophy and DNA, just like you've mentioned at WAFA. And these are people that have actually lived through this for the past 10, 15, 20 years. These are people that went through the system. These are people that are actually being capacitized by yourself, and Feyenoord actually still helping in that way. I'd say for viewers and listeners, for those that are running academies, etc., it's important to have a defined DNA and philosophy in place to ensure that what you're looking to put in place actually works. So without further ado, I'll move on to the next question, Mr. Yan. And so this in general will be, what is it like building the modern African footballer? So from your perspective, what does it take to truly develop a top level player in Africa today? And beyond raw talent, how do you approach mindsets, education, and life skills, technical maturity, and what role does the environment play in all of that?
Look, we have learned a lot about the mistakes we have made in the past. It's to develop players, it's a learning process. One of the biggest, not problems, but what we faced is that you have a lot of talented players, but that players are not really growing, not getting the height. So it's important that when you do your scouting process, it starts always in scouting, that you will bring in players who are physically strong enough to become a professional player. That means don't start too early with scouting players. In Holland, we have found out through all kind of scientific research that do not start too early with developing players in a serious way. You can develop them, just let them play football or whatever, but don't make it too serious. Start very serious around 13 years. That's about Europe. So in Ghana, I have discussed that with our technical manager, but I also have seen it with ASEC. Start around 14, 15 years to become more serious. Because at that time, you know better if they're going to grow. You see whether they have height or not. and whether they're intelligent, because it's also a part of intelligence. So this is a very important part of in your scouting. After 25 years of having an academy, we have a big network in Ghana. So most of our players who are doing well now in Europe, we didn't scout them ourselves. They all came through our network. They know we are a reliable academy.
Okay.
We share money in a sense. If players are doing well, they also get their percentage. So they all send us players, and we will get them on trial. We look at them for 3-4 weeks, maybe sometimes months, and then we make a decision. We also have our own scouts. We also do our scouting tournaments in school time. Only looking this year, for example, born 2011 boys with a good height, talent, intelligence. We allow them to come to the academy, and then hopefully they become good players. So that is the scouting perspective, and then you're in the academy. Now, we have our own DNA, and what I have done in the last year is try to find the right partners to protect our players as well. So we are an academy, we're also a club. So this means our players will get contracts when they're around 16 or 15 and a half. And we are doing this in order to protect our rights. Yeah? And we also work very close with certain agency or one agency. Because, it's Africa. And in Africa, if you have a good player, all the agents will approach that player behind my back, behind the back of another agent. And so what we have to do is to protect that player. And we work together with one agency who help that player, who can trust that player. And these are people who know Ghana, who know Europe, but they know exactly what is going on in Ghana. Because is the system with the agents different from Europe or from I don't think so. It's everywhere more or less the same. But in Ghana, we have to be very careful with all the people who wants to make money and want to come close to our best players. So we have to be very careful. I'm not saying it's bad. It is what it is. I have to accept that. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that we have to we're trying to work closely with partners. We have sold now a player to Malmö, Yassin Mohammed. In January, another one will go. It looks like they will become a partner like we have with Red Bull. We need a partner so that once in a while, our players go on trial, they experience going to Europe, etc., etc. So it is a lot of strategic thinking what I'm doing to find the best partner, to have a good agency, to have a good club, which is not a multi-club owner, which is in a country where it's easy for a player, African player, to adapt. We can send players to England, but no player from Ghana who went to England, went straight from Ghana to England, succeeded. It's not possible. The level is too high.
Too high,
so
yeah.
We have to find a country like, for example, Sweden, or what Notcheland is doing, Right to Dream is doing with Notcheland. That is a good level for younger boys to start their career, and from there on, from that country on, they can go to the Netherlands and then go to England, France, Spain, or whatever. So you have to find the right path. So again, it's a lot of things all together, which is very strategically.
All right,
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I understand totally. So yeah, I'm very, very familiar with the level and the gap of making that jump from Africa, obviously, to for example, top clubs, because I think you've highlighted that, and I would want to just go a bit deeper as far as that's concerned. But before going into that, I just had one question for you. You mentioned trying to find strategic and quality and good partners, and so why exclude partnerships or with clubs that are actually multi-club ownerships or under multi-club ownership groups?
I'm not excluding them,
Okay.
but you have to realize if one of my players is being sold to a multi-club owner, we get a transfer fee for the best players. Not all our players, but the best players, we get a transfer fee. Beside the transfer fee, you also get a sell-on. If you are becoming part of a multi-club ownership, there's a possibility that that player goes for free to another part of that multi-club, and we do not get our sell-on. So it could be dangerous.
Okay.
So that's and if you sell a player to the City Group, it's a multi-club owner, we will never refuse. But if you sell a player to a small multi-club owner who has 3 smaller clubs, and you sell the player, and the next time he goes for free to the other part of that multi-club, and then you do not have your sell-on. So that's a little bit the explanation why we are not that much in favor of a multi-club. I'm not saying we don't want a multi-club. No.
Okay. All right. I think that's clear. And for all the viewers and listeners from academy managers or academy owners, and I guess that's also a very important point to note, and because football at the end of the day is still business. I mean, 90% of people are in it because of business, obviously.
I'm sorry. We are, in essence, our academy is it was part of the social responsibility of Feyenoord, and later on we are privately owned, and for those people it's their social responsibility to do something back in Ghana to help the children in Ghana, and it's still their social responsibility. But for me, I have to try to find a way we cut the costs, and that it for them also becomes sustainable.
Absolutely.
So it's but I'm never thinking about business. I think about trying to find the right path for my players. It's simple like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I understand because the thing is, again, I'm not going to say what you guys are doing is business, but again, the moment sustainability comes into play, then that means there has to be some sort of way that the academy makes money anyways to keep it sustainable, whether it's to pay salaries, etc. So, which I understand totally. And yes, it's also obviously the social responsibility. I mean, it should be definitely part of our social responsibility just to make sure it's fair. And players definitely have to give back to their communities, especially looking back at where they started from and all of that. So I agree. So back to African players and then making those big leaps and jumps. I am the president of Universal Sporting Boys FC. It's an academy based in Gambia, and it's been fully operational for the past 6 years. And year after year, we learn, we try to grow, and we try to be more organized at a very realistic pace. And being in the footballing scene in my home country for that long, I would say a lot of the things that we lack and don't have is the lack of education, whether it's from the coaches. Also, the players are not well educated as far as the sport is concerned. So I think this is something that is actually hampering growth of what we have. So a lot of the academies are just stuck on the belief that they have the next Maradona in their hands. You know what I mean? So again, for them, this is a player that has to make that jump as soon as possible. And for me, every single time, I've done some scouting and coaching in England. I've been to different countries. I've tried to study and learn about the footballing dynamics, etc. And I just feel like you just have to be straight up realistic with your expectations. But most importantly, if you know what happens and what goes on in the footballing world, that is when it becomes my responsibility to build a very, 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 very close relationship with the players where we can have like deep talks about the realities of football And what could be the reality is football, especially when it comes to getting recruited and being placed and all of that, it could be very brutal.
Yeah,
It could have like it could have like a daunting emotional effect on the player. And so, like I said, this is why educating these players well in advance is very crucial and important, so it doesn't come as a shocker to these guys. So my first take to all of them is some of my some of the lines that I actually like to use is, you have less chances to make it as a professional footballer than you have making it as a successful business person. Football is a noble sport, right? It changes lives, and not just
yeah,
yours. It has the ability to change countless amount of lives, right? And
agreed.
yeah, so some footballers actually hold higher influences than politicians. So this is how much of a noble job this game is. And you either take it seriously or you don't. And if you decide not to take it seriously, then it's best not to waste your time, or just like pollute the environment of other people that are actually trying to take it seriously. Number
It
two.
depends. It depends, of course, because
Exactly. I
it
agree.
depends.
Yeah.
In Africa, football is
Hmm.
more or less business. In Europe, a lot of my sons are playing football, but they just play for fun.
I
But
agree.
in Ghana, nobody plays for fun because everybody thinks they will become the next Maradona or Messi, and
Absolutely.
that's the big difference between Europe and Africa. Everybody thinks he will become a professional player,
Yeah.
and to come back. We also give our education. We have our teachers in the academy. We are a boarding school. Our boys going to school in the village. They go to secondary school, senior secondary school, and primary school. So we teach them all kind of life skills to help them
Hmm.
and to become, besides a football player, if they are not becoming a football player, that they have a good life. And we have some former players who now are lawyers, or there's one a professor in a university in Tamale, one of our former goalkeepers campus. So we try to help them with everything, and that is also what we're doing with our coaches. Our coaches are following coaching courses in Ghana, and I want people. I have a good relationship with people in Holland, the Talent Academy, for example. I will fly people in from Holland who can help our coaches. I will bring in October a head of coaching who will come 3-4 times a year to help our coaches to take the next step, to take the next level in helping the players in a better direction.
Absolutely.
But I will never bring in somebody from Europe to stay there the whole time. Let my coaches make mistakes. Let my players make mistakes. Learning is making mistakes, and but we have to help them. And in Ghana, there's so much talent. We have more or less two big academies, Right to Dream and WAFA, but there's still place for maybe a space for maybe 10 academies. There's so much talent, and to be honest, there's so much talent in the whole of Africa.
No, absolutely. I agree. And like you said, for me, the most important thing is the education part.
Yeah,
And there always has to be a contingency plan when it comes to players. And again, given the very, very minimal success rate of professional footballers, it's always important that, in fact, education comes first. And for me, it does come first before the actual career of being a footballer, because
yeah, like
your
you,
yeah.
but you're telling me it's every year.
Hmm.
Let's say in between 3 and 5 players from WAFA are going to Europe.
Right.
One is sold, the other one is going, and we maybe get a percentage. Some of the boys are going to play, beside those 3 or 4, going to play in the Ghana League. This means out of the 65 players we only have every year a few players who can make it in Europe. The rest
Exactly.
is not going to make it. So they have to realize that the chance that they are going to make it is not that big.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. So for like I said, so for all the people that I actually have or meetings with, and just to have like a heart to heart type of conversation when it comes to being realistic about football, especially the pathway of players, I say to them, you have to be realistic with the pathways that you choose for your
Yeah.
players. The complete package or the fully refined package doesn't come out of Africa,
No.
because there's always going to be that switch of environment which could create a massive culture shock.
Yeah.
There would always be this player probably going into a club where maybe the development strategies or pathways that they have doesn't really align with this player. And so if you
So
start,
for me, it's very important
yeah,
from a strategically point of view to
mhm,
find the right
club
club,
with the right philosophy. So
the
exactly.
right
So
philosophy.
this is what my idea is. So I don't want to mention a club. We had a partnership with a club 3 years ago that I had to end. I had to scrap the partnership just because I didn't think it aligned or suited the type of players that we had. It's a decent club. They have a very good development um, you know philosophy and pathway, but it just doesn't align with the type of players that we bring in from our academy.
Yeah.
So you see, these are some of the bold moves that a lot of clubs are scared to make. And for me, I feel like getting into certain type of partnership limits your access to a lot of other opportunities that you could have easily gotten for these players. So from West Africa, I believe the at least the proven pathway has been having the players funneled from West Africa through to probably Scandinavian clubs, and then obviously that it's way easier for them to adapt and grow as players, and then from there just make that next jump instead of them having to leave Africa and go straight into the top five leagues. I
Yeah.
have never
It's
been, I have never been a fan of
no,
that.
no.
And
To 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 to, to be honest, of course, when we started Feyenoord Ghana at the same time, Tom Vernon started with Right to Dream. So we played often against each other. He with his third generation of Right to Dream against my second generation. Um, at that time, we were part of Feyenoord. He was trying to survive with his academy. And later on, he found a good sponsor in Ghana. I think it was Two Oil. And later on, he had a good partnership with Manchester City. But he was always trying to find solutions
yeah,
in that club. In 2014, we took over Red Bull. Red Bull, his academy in Sogakope. So at that time, we had an unofficial relationship with Red Bull. Later, it became an official relationship. And that time, it was Ashimiro, Gideon Menza. They all went, Amankwa later on, Ajikum. They all went to Red Bull. So we had that relationship. But Tom had to find a partner. He had to be very creative.
absolutely.
And he found, I think it was the Pathways group or something like that. And with that group, they bought Notchalant. So he created a platform for himself. We were always a bit ahead of Right to Dream. But later on, because of this step, Right to Dream were ahead of WAFA.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Because that step, what they have made was perfect.
perfect.
They
Yeah,
really, and if I can also find that kind of partner, I would love it. But it's a bit more difficult to find that partner. But it's I respect Tom Vernon. I respect Right to Dream.
absolutely. Yeah, big
I've
time. Yeah,
learned a lot. I know you always say, Jan, I've learned a lot from you, but he has done a great job with Right to Dream.
yeah, absolutely. Shout out Tom Vernon as well. I've had the chance to had a chat with some of his scouts, Jeremy Seathal and so Steen Niedergaard, some few other guys, and I'll say again, we love it when trends are being set. So from Azek Mimosas to now Tom
Yeah,
Vernon's Right to Dream, him expanding, getting the club, acquiring the club in Norgeland, which was there to have players funnel through, get the players grow, develop them, and then maximize their potential just for them to, make the next step.
Yeah.
To now moving to San Diego, California, acquiring San Diego FC. I'll say, again, it's definitely something worth looking at, and I really appreciate and admire the type of collaboration, or should I say, relationship you have with Torn, and not seeing each other as like rivals. As
No.
most other
We
countries,
see.
it would be.
I know Tony Mamadeli very well.
Yeah.
He came from Hoffenheim. I knew him already from Hoffenheim.
I was meant to meet Tony Mamadeli in Berlin, in Hoffenheim about a year and a half ago, but shortly after that, he took the Right to Dream job. And so I think towards the later part, we had a chat, and he was like, well, I'm moving. I'm taking the Right to Dream job.
And we phone each other off. We phone each other oftenly. He asked questions because I'm a bit more experienced in Africa, and he said, Jan, how are you doing this? And then I ask, how are you doing? How are you solving those solutions? In the end, it's all about. There's no rivalry.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. I see in the LinkedIn space how you always admire what he does. He does the same to you as well. So definitely shout out to Tom and whatever he's done with Right to Dream. We hope to see bigger and better. On other academies, following the same trend and learning, and try to improve as well in areas or aspects that need improving. So it's a constant solution finding problem. So we have to stick into finding the right solutions. So without further ado, and we move on to the next question. So this actually would be bridging African and European lessons from both worlds. You've been heavily involved in football in Europe, and then obviously now in Africa. So now, having worked in both European and African football, what lessons should African academies, adopt from European systems, and how can we preserve African authenticity while still raising standards, professionalism, and pathways, to the global stage?
I think the biggest problem not the biggest problem. One of the problems in Africa is there are no really the proper organization in league organization, and that is the biggest problem. For example, in Ghana, you need more investment in your Premier League. It has to become a more serious league. Everything has to become top down. If it's going well in the top in Ghana, let's say in the GFA, in all those leagues, it will also comes down to the rest, and that is what I think is the most important thing. What has to happen in Africa? Good leagues, good investments from companies outside Ghana in the league, in stadiums, and if that investment is coming to Africa, then the next step will be that the youth is going to stay a bit longer in Ghana and not going away already at 18.
19,
It's now everybody is working towards 18, because at 18 you have to be in Europe. But when you're 18, most of these boys, most of the Ghanaian players, they need to adapt for 1 or 2 years when they're in Europe. They are mentally a bit behind. Physically, they have to catch up. Then you're playing in Europe. It's so difficult. So it's. I think the level there has to be more investment being done in the local leagues. In Ghana, there's no proper under-19 league. We are now promoted from 2nd to 1st division. Before we play Premier League, and next year we're only playing with 15, 16, 17 years old in the 1st division against all the guys. So we create our own competition, our own opponents, because we need good opposition. So that is for me the most important part. Top down, it must be good at the top. A good league is important. A good under-19 league, that's important. And getting into individual is the development, the way we are developing players in Ghana. Can I compare that with Ajax or Feyenoord or PSV? But it's not. It's uncomparable.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't do that. It's not. But I know from the other end that a lot of clubs in Holland now trying to make bad pitches, because we have a lot of spoiled children in Europe who are not used to fight anymore. And in that situation, it's good for the Europeans to come to Africa and to see how we have to fight on those bad
Right, yeah.
pitches. And so it's a way of surviving in Africa. In Holland, nobody needs to survive because everybody is making money. So a healthy mixture of that. But on the other end, look, I want players to go to Holland or to Europe, and I want them to play the African style because the European style is there for the Europeans. When we want players from Brazil, we want Brazilians, not players who play like Dutch people. We don't. Most of the wingers in Holland, a lot of them are from West Africa. So it looks like in Holland it's very difficult to develop fast and technical wingers. We don't have them. They all have to come. The Gakpos, Poku, Adai, they all come from Ghana, from Togo or Ivory Coast. I think we have to learn from each other. Take the best out of what is happening in Europe and take the best of what is happening in Africa. But again, coming back to your question, it has to start top down. Good leagues is important. Sometimes I see stadiums in Tanzania, I think, wow, this looks good. So but it will change. 10, 15, 20 years, there will be a big change in Africa. You will have big stadiums. It will come.
Absolutely, I agree. And I think we all hope that that is the case. Hopefully sooner rather than, the 15, 20.
It can take another 10, 15, but it will come.
It will definitely come. I agree. And I totally believe it's definitely something that would happen. Again, key part, everybody being educated and understanding exactly how things work in the world of football.
Yeah.
And I appreciate and I really like the fact that you believe that authenticity of football has to be maintained, which is Africans have to play like Africans, and Dutch people have to play like Dutch people. Brazilians have to maintain their Brazilian flair. And if you look at things today, that's not the case. You don't have a lot of Ronaldinhos, probably Neymar that would showboat, because at the end of the day, I believe that football, as much as it's business, but at the same time, it's still entertainment. Sometimes people want to see entertainment.
Yeah.
And, and it's not just having like a robotic flow. Everybody's just programmed to play in a certain type of way. You know what I mean? So, but again, I think that question was well answered, and I think we'll move on to the next one. So this one is a bit key, and I'm sure you're definitely, again, working as a technical director and now the managing director of WAFA, obviously having seen a lot of transfer happen right in front of you, and most definitely having you involved as a decision maker as well. We would like to understand and know the transfer process and protecting talents as far as African players are concerned. So how does WAFA manage this of moving players abroad, from identifying the right opportunities to protecting players legally, financially, and emotionally? And what role should agents, families, and federations play to ensure ethical and sustainable transfers?
Yeah.
I know you've actually highlighted some of it.
Yeah, I highlighted already, but I will.
Just to refresh again. Yeah.
For me, what is very important is the contact we have. Not me, but my technical manager, director Sadiq Abubakar, with the players and with the parents and with the local agents and the local coaches, because that's part of the system in Ghana. A player comes to our academy and he's been brought by his trainer, his coach, his local guy, and the family relies on that local guy. He will be always his coach, his trainer. He has given him shoes. He has given him money to buy food. So it's very important to have the contact with the family. That's the first part. Mm-hmm. To protect the player, we have to give them, when he's 15 and a half, we have to give him a contract. We can give him a contract with the maximum of 3 years. This is in order to protect our rights, and that they're not people who are coming to the academy and just trying to get that player away, but we protect by contracts. Mm-hmm. And what we also have done in the last years, we are working with an agency. That agency is in England, but the people are from Ghana. and they know exactly what is going on in Ghana. They know how it works with parents. They know how it works with the good agents, with the bad agents in Ghana. They know exactly what is going on. And with that, we are more or less protected. And the discussions we always have is about what is the best next step for that player, which club. Yeah, is it interesting for him to go to England, or is it interesting to go to Denmark or Sweden? So that is what we trying to create, and I must say till now it's working. So that is more or less the way we protect the rights, and I've given the answer already. I think in the future a lot of things will change with investors coming from Europe. To be honest, we have spoken already with a lot of let's say clubs, but also investors who are interested into becoming an investor in our academy. We are not ready for that. We are sustainable. We do it on our own, and you will get a good partnership. Could be good, but it must be good. It must be working from both sides.
Absolutely.
But that is going to, I think, in the future, a lot of things will change. Also with investments, also in clubs in Africa. So that will also change the whole football environment in West Africa. So I think if I'm not sure if this is the answer you wanted to hear, but that's a bit the.
Absolutely. I mean, I think
so it's also a strategic way of thinking. Wow, what is exactly what you?
Yeah.
For example, we're playing home. We played only home matches this year. Yeah, in the second division. Next year we're playing home and away. Are we going to play? Are we going to allow the players who do not have contracts to play away matches with all those agents who are walking around our players? I think I would say, listen, we don't allow that. If we are going to play away, we don't allow those guys to play because it could be a problem, and other agents are going to chase those boys. That is, it's a strategic way of thinking. It is what it is. This is Africa. You have to deal with it. I'm not saying it's wrong or it's bad or good. It is what it is. You have to deal with it.
Absolutely, I think I agree, and I think that explains the protecting the talents, and obviously the transfer process you've also mentioned. One quick question: do you see more investors coming into African football in the coming years, or do you see less and less of investors or maybe clubs that want to expand operations to Africa?
No, more and more.
So you see more and more clubs and investors looking to expand.
More and more clubs and investors, and it's already that I know who's interested, and we have spoken with, for example, with ASEC. We have spoken with a lot of investors and clubs. So slowly, in 5 to 10 years time, the whole academy environment / football environment will have changed in the whole of West Africa.
Absolutely.
You can see it now also with the video footages with Eyeball, Y-Scout investing more and more in West Africa. It's going to change, and it goes. The Americans, the Chinese, all those people. In the end, they're going to invest somewhere. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. This is what is going to happen.
Okay. Well, for all the viewers listening and academy owners, managers, and or those that actually have ambitions to get into the game, so maybe keep searching. That's some good news for you. There probably would be clubs that might be keen to expand operations, and it's definitely going to be on the rise in the next coming years. And as Ian has just mentioned, and I believe that's definitely what's going to be the case as well, especially given that the European markets or the European academies are very, very, it's very competitive over there. Definitely, the market is not as saturated in Africa as it is in Europe. So it makes a lot of sense for investors to hop on and then, take advantage and opportunity. So I think...
I will just one remark is Rasmus Ankersen. You know Rasmus Ankersen?
Yeah. I know Rasmus Ankersen, the owner of Sport Republic.
Yeah, Sport Republic, the guy behind Transfer Room. He was the owner of Southampton.
Yeah.
He also owns an academy, I think, in Burkina Faso, in Mali.
Yeah, in Mali, yeah.
So, if these kind of people are already investing in an academy, and then I know he's intelligent, he's not doing that because he thinks there's no talent.
Speaking of Sport Republic, they want two of our strikers right now, but obviously that is for them to go to Mali, so have a trial done before they can get promoted or transferred to one of their clubs in Turkey, Göztepe or Valencia. So pretty much, again, I feel like they're doing very well, and as a group, and but we'll see how that plays out, hopefully. And so moving on to the next and the final question. So the future of African academies. Looking ahead, what is your vision for African academies in the next decade? What needs to happen at the grassroots policy and structure levels to build a stronger ecosystem? And what advice would you give to young?
Firstly, I was in December. I was in Egypt, in Cairo, at the CAF meeting for academies, and we discussed the academy system. And what will happen is that the CAF will make 3 categories, A, B, and C category. The best category is in A, because in Ghana, a lot of so-called academies, they are academies, but they aren't academies. They are just clubs.
Yeah.
So I think that is important to make a good difference. What is an academy and what is not an academy? That has to happen in the future. And so that in the end, everybody knows who's serious and who's not serious, because a lot of that's a bit my concern. Everybody wants to make money. A lot of people want to make very fast money. They call themselves an academy, and they aren't an academy. And we have to get rid of those. But it's we have to find a solution for that. So that is my concern. And as I said, I think more clubs, more academies, more investments will come in the future. From Abidjan towards Lagos, more children will live over there, so more talent will come. So in the future, there is so much talent in the whole of West Africa that in Ghana, there's space for another 10 academies. There's space in the Ivory Coast for another academies. So I think the future, in 10, 15 years, there will be a lot of academies in West Africa. And a lot of investment will come from Europe, because the talent is there. But it needs to be recognized, and it needs to be groomed, and it needs to be developed. And that's that's the problem in West Africa.
Well, I think that was definitely informative and insightful, and I think also that should make people want to work harder and maybe do things the right way. And we definitely hope to see as much WAFA, as much Zek Mimosas, as much Right to Dream academies in Africa as possible, because we believe the continent has the talent pool. It's quite massive. It's quite huge. And as a football person, I would say it would hurt me to see all of that go to waste without the right without the right bedding for these guys to actually realize their potentials as talented footballers. So again, I think I would want to thank you again, Jan, for hopping on this episode, because again, that brings us to the end of today's episode of African Football Unfiltered. Again, thank you to you, Mr. Jan, who's the ex-technical director of FC Den Bosch, now managing director of WAFA, West African Football Academy, one of Africa's most renowned academies, notable for transferring some of some of Europe's most exciting prospects, having gone through the setup of the WAFA. So to our viewers and listeners, stay tuned. We come back next week, Sunday, same time, with a new guest, and we hope to learn from this. And thank you guys for tuning in, and for your great for you guys making the time out and then hopping on. We'll really appreciate you guys tuning in next week, and see what the next episodes brings for us. So Jan, if you have anything to say aside from that.
No, thank you. It was an honor, and it's always nice to talk about football, whether it's in Europe, America, or
Absolutely.
Africa. It's always nice to talk, and we can always learn from each other.
Absolutely.
That's the most important part. So thank you for inviting me.
No problem, Jan. We appreciate you hopping on, and then we'll definitely hope to see you in in forthcoming episodes as well.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Till then. Ciao.
Bye bye.